All righty. What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Um, Super excited to be on with all of you today and to share a story and to invite a lesson. I wanted to kind of put out there the schedule of recordings in this space, which is going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So each day is going to be a little different. It's going to provide something different. But since we are here on Monday, let's go ahead and dive into story time with a little lesson and a message. So there is a Taoist story of an old farmer who had worked his crops for many years. And one day his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit and said, "Oh, such bad luck." And the farmer replied, "Maybe." The next morning, the horse returned, and with that horse, hey, Benet, with that horse, 3 other horses came. And the neighbors all came and saw this. "How wonderful!" they exclaimed. And the farmer said, "Maybe." The following day, the son tried to ride one of the untamed horses and was thrown and broke his leg. And the neighbors came the day after and offer their sympathy. And they just talked about how much misfortune the situation was. And the farmer replied, "Maybe." The day after, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. And seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. And the neighbors congratulated the farmer on how well things had turned out. And the farmer replied, "Maybe." I love this story because what it really gives us the opportunity to understand is that life has these situations. We live on a planet of frequency, right? And the frequencies go up and down, up and down, up and down. And so many of us can relate to having these feelings that go up and down, up and down, up and down. And typically these feelings are aligned with the situations that are happening in our lives. But what if, like this story, what if we just stayed present? What if we just stayed still inside of the happenings in life, knowing potentially that everything is working out for our favor or that nothing is working out in our favor, that these things are just happening? I mean, to go from, "I lost my horse, ran away," that could send us into what? It could send us into extreme states of depression and fear and anger. Oh my goodness, like, my horse ran away. What am I going to do? And then for the horse to come back with 3 other horses, it can send us into elation. Oh my gosh, not all, I got more. Like, yes, that's so exciting. And then your son gets on the horse and then he falls off and breaks his leg. And then you go back down into, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this is happening. Why is this happening in my life? And then the military comes to draft your son, but they don't because of the broken leg. Oh, elation, everything worked out. Riding these emotional roller coasters based off of situations that are just happening, yeah, for our greatest and highest good. And that we have the option to just remain indifferent. How do we find peace? How do we find satisfaction? This is one of the ways. And it is to not allow ourselves to get hyperactive, which is the higher frequencies, or hypoactive, which is a lower frequency, not to get too elated and not to get too down. Now, this does not mean by any means that we don't get to enjoy our lives, right? It doesn't mean that the things in our life aren't happening. What it means is that we stay steady, that we remain still inside of these circumstances that are happening. So many times when we think about the future, yeah, we can start to build up a lot of anxiety. We can build up a lot of anxiousness in regards to what ifs, or what if not, what if it doesn't. But the fact of the matter is that the future isn't happening. You know, what's happening right now in this moment is that you're listening to a story and you're receiving a message. And that's all that is. That's it. There is no past. There is no future. All there is in this moment is me and you, is your development, is your desire to grow, and your attention and your intention. And this sweet spot is more than enough. It's perfect. There's no room for fear. There's no room for worry. This is perfect. And can we carry this connection, this now, into as now continues to unfold, without the fear that things are going to change, without the worry that things aren't going to go right, without the worry and elation that things are going to go right? Just having satisfaction with what is, and knowing that you have the strength, the stillness, the ability to just simply be present with it, to simply just be. If we allow the things in our lives to be enough, then that is a direct reflection to the fact that we allow ourselves to also be enough. And that is a great practice, because otherwise we tend to ebb and flow and to go up and down and to react. And reaction is very natural here. We live on a plane where alchemization is happening all the time. Things are reacting to each other all the time, even on a molecular chemical level. But the spiritual journey and the journey back to self allows us the opportunity to understand that we also are stillness, that we are the observer, that we are the witness of life's happenstances. And that we get to cultivate, we get to create, because we are the co-creators of what that means for us. And one way to really allow our minds to grasp, to understand, to create what it means to us is by tapping into emotion and not allowing the emotion to tell us what's going on, but to allow the spirit to be, to show itself present, and to know that we are in a beautiful balance of life, of death, of happiness, of sadness, of love, of hatred. Yeah. And that it's all just happening. And when we become the observer, then we don't have to be actively a part of it. It's like being the audience of a play. Just watching a movie happen in front of us, and maybe feeling it on the inside, but not necessarily allowing those feelings to determine how we are going to react. That's a powerful message. So how do we begin to step into the observer? I think one of the most powerful things that we can do for ourselves is understanding that our thoughts are just thoughts. Our brains are picking up frequencies, sometimes not even in this world. There are frequencies that are happening, and our mind, our brain is just picking it all up. And our bodies and our emotions are also putting out frequencies as well. So if we did not identify with thoughts, but instead just allowed them to be a movie happening inside of our head, allowed them to just be clouds that are passing by in the sky, or cars driving by in the road. There are a lot of different ways that people express this, but at the end of the day, we can tap into stillness by identifying that some of the things that are going on in your head aren't even real. They're not even you. They're not even belief systems. They're just electrical impulses going off inside of the brain. Zing, zing, no different than the heartbeat. We don't count every heartbeat. We don't identify with every heartbeat. Why are we identifying with every single thought that comes inside of this organ that lives inside of our head? Maybe it's because it's between our ears, yeah? And we think that because we hear it, it has to be real. I don't know. But here's an opportunity to recognize, to be reassured that all of the thoughts that you are having, you don't have to identify them. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to become them. You can just be the observer. Wow, that was an interesting thought. Wow, that was an interesting perspective. Wow, that was interesting. No different. The thought comes, tomorrow's going to be bad. Maybe. I'm not good enough. Maybe. I am the best. Maybe. We don't know at the end of the day, you know? And the best part about it, to let it all go, is to know that you don't have to know everything. Because your higher power does. Yeah. Your higher power does know. Your soul, your spirit, the oneness, the connectedness, the part of you that is connected to all that is, does know. And you don't have to. Because all that is constantly staying and remaining in balance at all times. And that is okay. And your I don't knows and your maybes are a safe space for you to fully surrender into what is happening now. Because now is all that there is. So I really appreciate those that have watched, that enjoyed story time with me, and that took the opportunity to understand that, like, really, guys, life's not that serious, you know? And we really do have this amazing opportunity to live inside of the maybes, to live inside of the I don't knows, to live inside of the present, to surrender fully to it, and to not identify with all of these things that are going off inside of our minds, all of these fears, all of these hopes, all of these wishes, because the highest part of you is co-creating with all that is for you to step into a life that is fully satisfying. And to feel fully satisfied does not mean to be elated all of the time. It doesn't mean to be extremely happy all of the time. Satisfaction is right towards the middle of it all. I'm satisfied. This is good. I'm okay with this. Maybe. All right. I hope that you all have a wonderful Monday. I hope that this resonated, and I hope that this reflection of the story speaks to you and what's going on in your lives. I hope that you know, without a doubt, that you are so deeply loved and honored. I hope that you know that your guides, your God, your highest self is walking with you in every moment of every day, and that you are so more than deserving of walking with that spirit of you, and just genuinely enjoying everything that you are receiving and putting out. Peace and love. Bye, everyone.